I grew up in a one-parent household with my mom. I have 6 siblings, but I grew up with one of my sisters. Me and my mom wasn't really that close. I always felt like I was yearning for just being embraced and having somebody, that loves you in that way. When I was 15, I left because I was getting into a lot of trouble in junior high school, going into high school. When I turned 18, I had moved in with my older son's father. Shortly after that, I became pregnant with my first son. We were staying with his mother, and not having our own home became an issue when my son was born, because obviously now we're a family and we can't just stay in one room. That was like the first time in my life I had entered the shelter system. Even though they give us 3 meals a day, a couple of diapers, wipes, it wouldn't really be enough. We started fighting over little things, and after 9 years, we just called it quits. My sister was living in Texas, and I had an opportunity to move my son to Texas, and that's what we did. In the beginning, it was great. I had a good job. My son was in school. He was happy. Things started to take a different turn in Texas when I met my second child's father. Right when we moved in, I found out I was pregnant, and he became violent. There was a time when I was 8.5 months pregnant. We got into a physical altercation, and he had pushed me and basically grabbed me by my hair, hit me. I had a scratch on my face. That happened actually in front of my son. A week after that, I went into labor. When I had the twins at the hospital, I learned that we had a CPS case because of the problems that we were having with domestic violence. Going to my sister's house with my kids, it was basically another hostile environment for them because we didn't get along. And so I just went back to my apartment, even though he was living there. Because I had the CPS case, my older son, I sent him back to New York to live with his dad. And the babies were with my sister. I couldn't see the twins that I had just had, and my boyfriend at the time was using hard drugs. What led me to use drugs really was me not knowing how to cope with not being able to have my children. It kind of numbed my pain. Going through postpartum and being in a toxic relationship just took a lot on me. I wound up having heart failure. I was in the hospital for about 7 days. It just made it worse and made me lose custody of my kids. I finally was done with him and moved to another little town of Texas. I was doing good. I was working, trying to stay away from drugs, and I met my other kid's father. I had became pregnant, and it was another set of twins. Since I still had an open case, when I gave birth to them, they was under the case too. So that was stressful because now she has 4 of my children. I still don't have my older son. I still don't have my own apartment. I just had fell back into drugs, which just was destruction all over again. I used to panhandle in front of gas stations. Being at my lowest in Texas made me realize I need to come back to New York because I had my older son here. I would be around support. I wouldn't be in the environment where I would be using drugs. I hadn't seen my son for 2 years. We never spent that much time apart from each other. It was kind of bittersweet because even though we was in the shelter, we was reuniting, getting to bond through different ways. We had to grow with each other again. I first heard about First Step through my job counselor at the shelter. I always wanted to work in the human services field, and I just never had an opportunity to join a training program. I took advantage right away and signed up.
First Step is a holistic job training program devoted to empowering women and helping them gain the skills and confidence they need to be successful in any workplace. First Step provides computer training and social service workshops such as communication and self-care. We also focus a lot of our time on resume creation, interviewing skills, and how to make the most out of every networking opportunity.
I first met Melissalee on the first day of class for class 170, and I remember thinking that she was really nervous, but super driven and really excited to get started.
My first day at First Step was kind of nerve-wracking because I didn't know what to expect, but they just made it so welcoming.
Melissalee had a great relationship with the other women. She was always coming to class she had a new quote for every day, some positive or inspiring quote, and so the women definitely really gravitated towards her.
We really try to build a community of support around our students. That includes First Step staff, mentors, and other First Step students and graduates.
The First Step program was amazing. Some of the activities I enjoyed the most was the mock interviews, which gave me more experience with loosening up and being more comfortable in a professional environment. I really enjoyed the activity where we got certified for non-coercive approaches to conflict management. It just taught us little lessons on how we can de-escalate situations, which is important in the real world. I felt like First Step made me a better mother to my son because it just teach me how to listen more effectively and take into account exactly what he's going through and how I can help him. First Step was definitely a turning point in my story because it restored hope. I got hired for an internship at First Step, being a computer assistant. Having the internship led me to get my apartment.
Right after Melissalee graduated from First Step, we hired her as a computer assistant, helping teach other students the computer skills or helping, problem solve any issues that folks were having learning those computer skills. Then she moved on to work with our development department, as well as doing some work in our finance department at the Coalition, and now she's working in our advocacy department.
I loved seeing Melissalee's self-confidence grow during her time in First Step. She just seemed so much more self-assured, and I really got the sense that she felt more confident in herself and her ability to be a role model and inspire others.
First Step made my life better because of the opportunity they gave me. Just the happiness that they allowed me to feel by being able to learn so many things. I just feel like going forward into the future, I have everything that I need to be successful.